Hello and welcome, Paladins fans around the world, back to the MSI. The midseason Invitational kicking off, and it is finals bracket day. We are commencing. The PPL teams are here. Our first matchup is going to be a banger. We've got Ninjas in Pyjamas, your first seed out of the Premier League, and of course Sour Team, the second seed from the European Minor League. There's a lot of history between these two matchups. It is going to be a very, very fun one. Of course, I am your host today for this matchup. My name is Pretty Hair, and joining me on the desk, very special guest, the man with the plaid suit, Mr. Beanie. I know who you are, but for those of us out there that might not know who you are, go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
Hey guys, I'm Beanie. I'm the coach for Cyclone, our European Xbox team, and I'm just here to knock it out and have some fun.
Heck yeah, man. So talk to us a little bit about it. You know, is this your first time at LAN? Is this your first sort of experience meeting the guys? What's been your favorite thing so far about the MSI?
Yeah, this is my first time at LAN. I've wanted to come before, and I just never made it onto the right spot, but I've been hanging out with a lot of people, just meeting
isn't it fun?
friends.
Everybody in the building, you kind of get to, put some faces to those names that you've sort of been seeing and hearing about for so long. And of course, unfortunately, you guys get knocked out, but coming the closest out of everyone, that's got to feel good.
Yeah, it sucks a bit that we didn't make it all the way.
Or does it suck because you came so close?
It's a little bit of both. We're proud of how we played, but
Bittersweet, man. Bittersweet, I'm sure. So, of course, our first matchup of the day, NIP, the Ninjas in Pyjamas, your first seed out of the Premier League versus Sour Team. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack with this Ninjas in Pyjamas team. They're a squad really that comes together from all across the world. Diggy Dog making that big move from Australia, playing for Kanga Esports for a long time, moved to Sweden, moved in with Bird. To kind of a mediocre start on this NIP team. About that third place last season, but doing much better now this time around.
Yeah. They had a bit of a slow start, but I think they made the right moves kind of for like the long-term plan.
Exactly.
Right. Like he came in, obviously it wasn't going to be flawless, right? Because they had that ping discrepancy. They weren't able to scrim with him too much beforehand. But it ended up working out for them in the end.
And he made a pretty big, roster swap. Came in, on NIP playing in that DPS role. Was very famous on Kanga for playing those blasters. But this season he's playing off-tank. And off-tank is one of the more difficult roles, would you say, given how many, at least on PC. I don't know if it's the same for you on console. There's so many off-tanks banned out on PC.
Yeah.
So that's a guy that needs to know how to play everything.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really impressed with how he made that transition. The only other person that we saw make that transition was Moon, and I mean, there's a big discrepancy there between the two.
For sure. Long-standing support player, a guy that has not made many role swaps in his career. Bird playing support for an extremely long time, but that, of course, has its benefits. Bird is a very, level-headed guy. And I've known him for a long time. He's been in this scene basically since its inception, and he's always done well. I mean, this guy has, first or second place in probably the first 6 to 8 lands that Paladins has ever had.
Yeah.
Honestly, last season was probably the worst that Bird has ever placed in his career. So this is, I think, a big moment for them. Bird kind of on the upswing, coming back. Bonker there as well, being the MVP from the very first Invitational. Diggy Dog looking for that first land win. Tenor looking for a big land win. I know he had kind of a season that almost fell through, being 8-0 so many times with Fnatic. And, of course, Alex coming from a losing Mouse Sports squad as well. Absolutely looking for that win. Do you think this is a squad that can get it done?
I think so. I mean, they've been doing it online, or not online, excuse me, in the studio during the season.
Yeah.
I think they'll be able to pull it through.
All right, man. Sour Team, of course, their opponents today. Talking a little bit about, the history between these two matchups, man. There's so much there. We just highlighted Bird, the support for NIP, but Sheep and Perdo from Sour Team, they're old rivals of Bird.
Yeah.
I would say, these two go back to the Burrito District 69 days. I mean, they were the 1 and 2 for just so long. There's got to be so much of those pent-up emotions, and going against some of your old teammates, sometimes, things like that can make you slip up.
Yeah, for sure. There's also this dynamic of it's been almost a year since they played together.
Right.
So I think that novelty's kind of fallen off a bit. Same way with Diggy playing against Kanga.
Yeah.
Like, it's just been so long, and I think they feel pretty comfortable with where they are right now.
Yeah, it always feels good, I'm sure, to beat those guys. It's going to be a really great matchup. I'm super excited to get into this one. Let's get down to the booth, though, and get some feels and see what NIP are thinking.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Down here with Bittner. in the NIP booth. Last time we saw you guys, a bit of a tough day against Navi. You've had some time off. How's the team been feeling? What have you guys been up to?
We're feeling good. We've mainly just been practicing, preparing for MSI, so we're feeling good.
It's actually it's a big thing to kind of look at. You guys obviously first place seed coming out of the PPL split. Is the pressure different in the MSI, or is it just another match for you guys?
No, I don't think it's different. It's just another match that we need to go through to get to the finals.
Obviously, Sour team on the opposite side here, the one of the two minor league teams that qualifies in to play against you guys today. A team that I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of their players, but not somebody you really play on a weekly basis. What are you expecting out of them? Do you think they could be sneaky good on you guys?
I mean, they did a lot of jank yesterday, like triple DPS with Maeve and Eevee, so that's something we have to be worried about. But I think it's going to be good.
Anything special prepared for us here at MSI? I know that you posted your picture on Twitter this morning of all the champions. Anything new added to that picture, maybe?
We'll wait and see, I guess.
I'll have to wait and see. Well, thanks for talking to me. Best of luck in your match today. Send it to the desk.
All right, thank you so much down there, Tenor and Dave. Confident as always. I think Tenor, to me, has done a good job. I think changing and maturing a little bit. Obviously, he's a pretty young guy, one of the younger dudes in the scene. And to come into the amount of success he had on that Fnatic squad, I'm sensing a little bit of a change. Like I said, a little bit more maturity in him. I think he's more level-headed in these instances. He's been undefeated before, nearly undefeated in the case of NIP this season. But having to close out Atlanta, I think that's really what his sights are set on this time. But he's going to have to get through Sour Team and many other opponents if he wants to grab there. Sheepa, we brought up the veterans of this Sour Team squad. They've played in the PPL for a long time. But a lot of people are saying, these guys are kind of past their prime. They're just kind of doing it for fun in the minor league at this point. After watching Sour Team through the first couple of days, what are your thoughts on these old schools?
Yeah, I don't know really. They have fallen off for sure, but I think they're still here to compete and they still want to win in the end.
Yeah, something about these two, once it's almost like once it's going or once it's gone from them, that's when they want it most. You know what I mean? When they're in the limelight, that's when it feels like, it's not a big deal to them. But once they start to, actually get hit, actually start to bleed and lose games, like that almost like wakes these guys up. They're natural competitors. They're, Sheepa and Peridot have been best friends for all time, basically 20 plus years. They've been gaming together basically the entire time. They've competed in all different kinds of stuff. Sheepa, I think, did a good job and showed a lot of flexibility yesterday playing in that 3 DPS lineup. But he's not going to have, or this man right here is not going to have to do as much flexing. He is that real mainstay, concrete, hit scan DPS. You know what you're going to get out of this guy because he's playing it every single day. Now, Tyra has been very big, I think, for Sour Team overall and for just teams in general. I think she brings a lot of flexibility. What are your pros and cons with Tyra?
Tyra's a very good champion, and she also enables a lot of other champions, and she's good at kind of countering out specific strategies. Like if you're trying to get like a Maeve around them, you just mark up the Maeve, and then the Maeve's just gotta wait. Yeah.
This play, Peridot getting one of the highlight plays of the tournament. Over elevates Death Ball, raining fire and blood on them from above, completely uncontested there. That's pretty much the dream. That's I think what the designers drew it up, the Dragon being able to do, blowing up people who would stack. A lot of cleave damage there. I don't know if we'll see too much Imani after the nerfs to the Frost Bomb, and just I think in combination with people getting more used to that character. She's one of the newer characters in the game for those of you that may not be familiar. That's sort of like, she kind of trickled down and isn't really prioritized too much anymore.
Yeah, the other part of that was when you saw these console teams playing, there was a lot more DPS bans, and so you saw these DPS players have to go deeper into their champion pools.
Yeah.
And then you saw these Makoas and Atlases come out because no one was touching them in bans.
Well, there's a lot of storylines in this matchup. Sheepa and Peridot versus Bird, a lot of old rivalries. Let's get down to the booth, though, with Sour Team and hear their thoughts firsthand.
Thank you very much, guys. Now over here in the Sour Team booth with Zarini, of course. You guys come in second place yesterday, but the big question I kind of had and a lot of people had is, you either get NIP or Na'Vi out of the gate. Do you actually favor yourselves against NIP maybe over Na'Vi, or was it just sort of either or? It's a tough matchup.
I mean, it's a tough game either way, like Seed 1, Seed 2 in the world. I played for Na'Vi a little bit, and I know they're really, really good. But NIP is Seed 1, so I guess technically they're worse for us, but I mean, it's whatever.
Actually, looking over at NIP, I mean, they're a team that early on in the PPL split really leaned into interesting picks, some interesting compositions. Is there anything maybe you expect out of NIP today?
They play everything. You can't really ban them out. Yeah, whatever. Like
Just a lot. And they could play anything in theory.
yeah, everything.
What do you need to do today to beat NIP?
I mean, I'm Norwegian. They're a Swedish team, and I can't be scared of them. That doesn't work. There's lots of good Swedish players like that they could have had on the team, like Kay Connors and Simsalo, but they're playing with with lots of Bulgarians, and
Just need to play with some confidence today, maybe.
we're gonna get it in a way.
That's right. Well, good luck to you guys. Thanks for talking with me. Send it back to the desk and get this one rolling.
Seed 1 or Seed 2 in the world. Pick your poison, Sour Team. I think they're going into this match with the right mindset. It's going to be tough no matter what, so let's just focus on doing what we do best. And now, there is a lot of PPL, tenure and experience on this minor league team. Zarini mentioned he played for a week with Navis, filling in and sort of doing that role. And just, I think you can learn a lot being in that environment, even if only for a week. Perdo and Sheepa, it's older experience, but there's a lot of it. You know what I mean? They've been at the top when they were at the top of their game for so long. Ninu even, I think that guy had a pretty phenomenal split when he played in the PPL, but that's all hearsay at this point, guys. It's time to get into this set. Splitstone banned, Wardersgate banned, Ascension Peak gone, Frog Isle gone for Sour Team. The first map pick, this is NIP's map pick as well, has been selected as Bright Mars. They are going to be first pick, first ban as well in this draft. That last game with Na'Vi, that last set with Na'Vi, they said they had a lot of tricks up their sleeves still. I don't know if I'm expecting anything right out of the gate here in the first round. I think things are going to be a little bit more standard. It's worth noting as well, this is a best of 5, so I think these first games are very, very important just to get off on the right foot and keep your momentum high. Khan gone and Atlas taking a seat, as well as Evie. Evie has not been the fixture of this event that I kind of thought she would be, especially against some of the console teams. I know a lot of console guys were worried about playing PC Evies, but we hardly saw any of it.
Yeah,
in fact, the only one that comes to mind was Skeppy playing Evie.
Well, I mean, a lot of teams are banning it as well, right? Which is a big conversation there. I'm liking these map bans from both teams, and I think we're going to see kind of NIP and Sour trying to feel each other out. Maybe see how good Sour really is or NIP really is.
Sure.
And a pit ban is interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty popular, I think, on Jaguar Falls and Bright Marsh. Tenor, so good at this. It's kind of astounding how many people don't ban Pip against NIP, especially on these maps like Jag and like Bright Marsh, these tighter, closer maps that are more conducive to the clumping and therefore punishing by an AoE character like Pip. But Makoa is left open, and he will be first pick with Khan and Atlas banned. Is this a mistake by Sour Team?
It could be. There's also Torvald still open, so maybe it was a bit of give and take, right? Give them the Makoa, take the Torvald, or they take the Torvald and you get the Makoa. Torvald and Makoa together don't work too well. That's a lot of shielding and not a lot of point contests with the lack of a main
do they
tank.
take it here or just kind of leave it? Is this a surefire thing for Sour Team at this point? They just leave it open and grab other things.
They could take it here. The other option is NIP could take the Torvald and look for a triple tank.
Well, it looks like Sour Team is going to leave Torvald open for the time being. Both these teams can do Torvald, but I would put my chips more towards Sour Team. I know they like to run this a lot. Sheepa and Perdo. We mentioned the synergy between those two guys, the amount of games that they've played together over their lifetime. It's astounding. So they have that mind meld. They have that spirit link. They can time those bubbles and attack appropriately around that. But NIP, they're not going to let Sour Team. They're going to call their bluff, so to speak, and grab both Makoa and Torvald and Leon.
There is no middle ground.
I just hope it's not on Bittner.
I hope so as well. Let's talk a little bit about that. When we saw NIP in their last set of the season go 0-4 against Na'Vi, there was some funny business on Jaguar Falls with Alex coming out. But Alex, not played by Tenor, who you'd expect, was played by Bonker. And then, of course, Torvald was piloted by Isbitner. Was there something to that? What are your thoughts on the way that game played out?
I honestly have no idea what was going through their minds. I'm not sure if maybe this was a strategy that
I think a lot of us don't.
Yeah, maybe this was planned, like they've tried it in scrims and maybe just Bittner wasn't feeling the Lex that day or something. But
yeah. Well, Only one way to find out, I suppose. And Makoa, Torvald, Leon so far for NIP, Genos, Cassie for Sour Team, still needing any type of front line, but having to take their time with this next one because, again, Beanie and I were, we were talking about how Makoa Torvald isn't the best front line to set yourself up. It relies a lot on shielding. Makoa's not like a hard point front line either, so, maybe there's something left to be desired there, but we almost felt like not taking it was calling a bluff, and NIP called Sour Team on it. They pick it up. What will they pair with it? We saw Leon Torvald, frankly, be very effective yesterday, so they could just be happy with what they've got right now. Nave is still open if they want to go for more of a dive, flanker style.
You've also got the Bomb King that's still open, right?
True.
We've got EV pip bands, a lot of blasters off.
Where is
And it's going to be Drogos.
It is a blaster at the end of the day, so you're right about that. It will be Drogos. This is a character that it's pretty popular to see later in the draft, once you know that none of those hard counters are taken. And it might be something that NIP were trying to set up for. This Leon is not super common for them. It's a good takeaway from Perdo, however, so it has a couple of merits in this draft. But largely, I think, having this off the board really allows you to have some really nice space to work with on Drogos. Last pick now, just waiting to come through for Sour Team.
Welcome to the Mint.
They need a DPS. They'll get a DPS. How are you feeling about these two drafts? This is, for me personally, it's pretty scary from NIP, man.
Yeah, I like the Maeve into the Torvald. I think she deals very well with those shields, right? Once you get your Wrecker 1, Wrecker 2 online, she can basically one-shot if you hit both daggers. There isn't too much aggression to pair with the Torvald, so I'm a little worried about that. But I guess we'll just have to see how it works out.
This is a really aggressive team, man. They like to get in your face. They like to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have any hard point front line, and so hopefully they can make it work with this Makoa. I know that's going to be a lot of pressure on whoever plays it. Bonker or Diggy Dog has their work cut out for them. Let's get it down to the casters, though. I'm so excited to watch our first PPL team play.
Thank you, gentlemen. Nick and Beanie are on the desk, and that means Gore and I are down here casting game number 1 for you guys, NIP Sour Team. Gore, we're finally in the finals bracket. We got PPL teams playing all day today, but first, we have a little bit of a mix, a little minor league, a little PPL. And I kind of tried to prod Zerini, sort of, which is the lesser of two evils. You get NIP because you come in second. Would you have rather had Na'Vi, whatever it may be, but Not passing by anyone. I think either way they realized it would have been a hard matchup.
I think the interesting thing, like storyline-wise, it would have been fun to see Zerini versus Na'Vi.
That's what I was thinking.
But this is also going to be interesting just because coming out of it again, Perdo, Sheepa, and, Bird, I guess, on the other side, pretty much all of NIP, or at least all the European players of NIP, have experience with these teams. I also believe they scrim each other probably a lot, considering whenever NIP goes back home, well, you have to play an EU team. You're not going to try to scrim all the way across the pond, so you have to play a little bit more there.
First blood already going the way of NIP.
Yikes.
If we've learned one thing, giving Torvald to NIP is scary. Giving Makoa and Torvald to NIP, well,
Unless
that could be a little insane.
it's playing it.
Alex on Drogos this time around. That's a double kill already for the Drogos. I maybe would have expected Bittner to be on the blaster and maybe Alex on Leon, but not the case this time around. Double kill already for NIP, and they got 36% on the point.
Alex just blows my mind with how many champions he plays. Like, we always, Bittner has the meme from how many that he plays competitively all the time. Alex is up there, too. Like, it's just so weird that they have 2 DPS players that they'll just play whatever. Like, you just happen to be like, you know what? I want to choose this and this. You two figure it out, and they're both going to play it at whatever level you need to. Ninu finally going to be able to get a little bit of a response, and I think based on what Beanie was saying, one of the biggest things for Sour Team is to try and prolong this game as much as possible. Get as many credits online, try to stall it out, go 1-1, 2-2, and just let Ninu carry on this main.
And Gore, it's not as steamrolly as it looked like it might have been. 33% for Sour Team here, 54% for NIP, so it's not like they're getting blown off the map by any means. Some good daggers from Ninu. Turned around the fight a minute ago. He's going to be looking to do the same. Sheepa, first to fall on this re-engage, but kind of holding him in this backline here is Ninu up on the high ground. You have to watch out for Alex on the Drogos. That's going to be a tough one to deal with. It's really on to, I guess, Cassie, maybe some Maeve. The Inflame comes through for NIP. That means they're going to get ready to go here. Yopi's going to be the next to go down. And NIP, that's a clean sweep with the help of the ultimate from Furia.
I mean, there's just so much good on the side of NIP draft-wise. Like, you don't even have to look at the play to dice it down. Makoa. you can almost end the sentence there.
Makoa.
But then you add on Torvald, then you add on Inflame, then you add on the way Alex is playing with this Drogoz, the fact that everyone seems very zoned in on NIP. And just to kind of take, like, Blake had said this while we were coming into the game, and it just makes me think, like, Sour Team sharpened a sword, made sure everything was nice and good. They gave it to they gave it to NIP, and then just walked into it to make their job a little easier.
I mean, they held on for a little bit. I mean, they got 33% on the point. Beautiful through time and space from Yopi. Finds a couple. Diggy Dog's able to answer back here. Sour Team, again, not rolling over. I mean, NIP, they're a team that when they get steamrolling, especially in a composition with a Makoa, with a Torvald, and Alex and Bittner playing very comfortable champions, and Furia just to really multiply all of that. They're a team that can really steamroll you down, and Sour Team, they're not taking it just yet. Only through time and space used, a minute and a half left. This is a good sort of half zone, I would say, from Sour Team.
I think the biggest thing to note from that last fight, though, is how often can you rely on Joppy to hit those, right? How often does he get 2 kills with his ult? That's going to be the big, like, hallmark, I guess, for
every
us. Sour Team are relying on their support. I mean, like, it can happen. We've seen it in the past. Sometimes supports can carry the game, but then you also end up in this scenario where it's almost the exact opposite. Like, with a double kill off of a through time and space, they got 3 kills total and pushed back NIP. And just on the retake, NIP full wipe Sour Team.
This is a team that in their last week of the PPL suffered a 0-4 loss to Na'Vi.
Yeah.
I mean, you could call maybe a couple of the games an asterisk towards the end, but they've definitely come back focused. At the end of the day, this is now a tournament where they can show that they deserve to be first place. They could end up on top of this tournament. A lot of people think that they deserve to be up on top towards the end of it. 38 seconds remaining. They're going to look to start off set number 1 with a win. Going up 2-0 would help that. Good hook in onto Sheepa. Midnight, though, comes through from Sour Team. Ninu's going to try to get aggressive. No kills coming through for Red just yet. They're able to kite back so well on the side of NIP, and the healing is good as well.
I mean, they have healing, they have shielding, they have everything they need in terms of utility to keep everyone alive. And then, worst case scenario, Diggy Dog's just going to hook them down and make sure that you lock them up. Like, that's one of those things. In my mind, I'm perfectly okay with a meta where Diggy and Phoenix, and let's say maybe Rubu, like, constantly get Makoa, because I could just watch them play it all day. Like, watching hooks connect like that is it's a treat. It's just fun to watch. It's unfortunate here for Sour Team, but it just kind of feels like they're learning, I think, something every PPL team had to learn throughout this split, which is it's really, really hard to outdraft NIP.
Yeah, but, I mean, Sour Team, I mean, they're a very good team, but, I mean, we're not even in the outdraft conversation here. We're in, like, the just try to go even with them at this point. I mean, you give them Makoa and Torvald. I mean, Makoa, he can pretty much stand alone, but Torvald's just going to make Bittner and Alex better, which is a scary thought. I mean, they thought that they had something to answer it back. The Genos has been doing pretty well. The last mid-fight was sort of even, so with Fast Cap on their side, things could come up. Down goes the assert dominance. Bonker already, so no more bubbles for a few moments. Sheepa in the backline, a double kill for the Ashe this time around. Bird able to balance things out just a little bit. It's a 2-for-1 for Sour Team, but they're dancing on the point with Fast Cap.
Yeah, not only being able to have that, but they have the Dome Shield ready. They have Barrick standing there like someone who's incredibly survivable. 2 front lines, still able to zone out as well. Like, you need some big kills here from Alex to be able to make this go, and that's going to start it off.
Here comes the Dragon Punch tripping through. Who's he going to look for? They're all grouped up here in the middle. The beam comes rolling through. Hyper Beam as well. Blasts them all out of the area. Inflame, Sour Team, they're so far backed off. They don't want to fight this at all. Diggy Dog calls that bluff. The hook goes through. The kill comes out, and they retake the point. 93% though for Sour Team. Still more than a chance to retake.
I really wish Alex's face wasn't constantly stoic so I could try to read what he was thinking in that moment where he's Dragon Punching in.
And the Hyper Beam.
And then the Hyper Beam pushes literally everyone away from him. It was a good Hyper Beam, and it was a good Dragon Punch. They don't work well together.
The synergy could work if one goes towards the other. NIP end up zoning out well enough to get the point. A double kill on the Leon goes Bittner. Sour Team tried to retake a consolation kill there from Zerini. Not going to mean much as the hook from Diggy Dog rips through and cleans up that kill. Up early 3-0 here. Go NIP, 7:25 on the clock. Potential for a sub 10-minute game if this one goes through.
I don't want to say, like, this is one of those ones where I honestly feel like it kind of feels like a freebie. Like, when you get Makoa Torvald as your first, like, in your top 3, it kind of feels like, okay, hey guys, have a victory. Let's go ahead and start this over. Like, I want to know what Sour Team's going to do to adapt because
it's the answer.
At this pace, this is looking like it's going to be a 4-0. I mean, a 15 streak right now for the Makoa, for Diggy, who's not looking to slow down. Alex being able to get healed. Like, the fact that the team's falling back like this and not feeling any pressure is the biggest thing.
Oh, Enlightenment gets a little turret damage and some damage onto Zarini. Has to back off here through time and space, ripping down from the high ground, assert dominance. Sour Team are throwing everything at the wall to try to stop this. Nothing's working out, though. There's a minute and 20 seconds left. Midnight, maybe a last-ditch effort, but the Inflame answers it right on back. Midnight expires. So do the rest of Sour Team. This payload's going to go through. It's going to be a 4-0 for NIP.
I think NIP are coming out today to show why exactly they were #1 in the PPL and maybe scrub off that last match that they had that last week where they were just like, you know what, forget about the Lex Torvald, forget the fact that we put Bittner on Torvald for that game. Like, let's focus on MSI. Let's look at what's going forward. And right now, it is a polished team. It is exactly what they've needed and exactly the way they needed to come about it. Granted, again, that seems a little lopsided. When you get Makoa and Torvald for your first game, you're bound to look good.
I mean, there were bright spots there. I mean, it's a 4-0, but there were bright spots.
Yeah.
The initial mid fight was very balanced throughout most of it. I mean, it was 100 to I think 30 to 50 for Sour Team. So they were fighting back initially, but it seems like you're right. In the drafts, they almost set themselves up for failure in a way. I mean, they let the Makoa go through. Torvald's up. They say, okay, well, we'll let the Torvald go through as well. Maybe stacking the cards just a little bit too much in favor of NIP. NIP strike first. They do it convincingly with the 4-0. Desk, what are you thinking?
Oh boy, that's what I'm thinking.
That was
man.
quick.
That was a quick one. I mean, by the time we got up to go back to the green room to watch this, and everybody was dead from Sour Team. Not a great start. I think the biggest thing that went wrong was specifically what we talked about in the draft, the first 3 picks. Talked about, Torvald Makoa is not the most popular frontline combo. Can Sour Team leave this open? They do leave it open, and NIP call that bluff. Pick up the Torvald and absolutely execute on that. I mean, look at Tenor's damage. 90K, bro.
Wow.
90K. 40,000 above the next closest person.
12, 2, and 14. That's not something you want to see.
Whew. That's a heater. And Diggy Dog 10 and 1, 9 and 2. I think the biggest thing to learn from this is that obviously giving Torvald Makoa to NIP might not be the best idea, but to break that down, I think a little bit further, yes, this is not the most traditional frontline composition, Beanie, but it still has its pros and cons. It just requires a bit of a different execution. And I think NIP are good enough to know how that execution needs to play out.
Yeah, the other side of that is Sour seemed to be playing for late game, and they never made it to late game, right? He just instantly wiped,
you know? 9 minutes later. Okay, that one didn't go so well. Alex has a pretty great game here on Jorogos, obviously being out damaged a little bit, but not receiving a ton of those pocket shields anyway. Tenor is kind of the chosen one there on the Leon. We saw how potent that composition could be. Jorogos is fun to watch when you get him late in a good situation when there's not a whole lot to counter him. I thought he played pretty well on this character. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Alex is a really good blaster. He hasn't traditionally played blasters in the past, but he's fit really well into this new role. And because of that, people don't really associate him with any specific blaster.
It's kind of hard to associate with him with any specific champion. He's played a lot of stuff this season.
We've seen him play some Barrick.
That's kind of the way NIP roll, though. They play a whole lot of stuff. Tenor is known as one of the more flexible players out there right now. But Alex, I think, more reliably than anyone, plays both blaster and hit scan. This guy really, I think, has a solid repertoire on almost any of the damage characters.
Yeah, the only other person I can think of like that would maybe be like a Bugsy way back in the day.
You throwing it back then?
Bugsy Saris.
Okay, Bugsy Saris, baby. It's an interesting thought for sure, and Bugsy definitely, when he was playing at the top level, was the most flexible player to do it. Cassie's going to take a seat for this one, though. A very flexible pick for Sour Team, as the draft did not go so well for them in game number 1. Koa going to take a seat as well. NIP, we'll see what they end up banning out. So, it's an Atlas or a Khan. What are they going to let go to Sour Team?
Probably the Khan. I think Atlas might be the
Or do
best.
they leave them both open and say, try us, fools. We'll call that bluff.
I think Atlas is just kind of the best tank right now.
Okay.
Like, more so than Makoa. So there is a bit more of a discrepancy between the Atlas and the Con in terms of just like power level, I guess.
Right. When I look at Sour Team as well, there's 3 people, Phoenix, Digidog, and Rhino, I think are the top 3 Atlases in this league.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was almost wanting NIP to just bait Sour Team into leaving it open, because I don't think Sour Team is overly attached to Atlas. I think they would have been more likely to grab Con anyway here, and NIP would have been able to potentially scoop an Atlas. It is Serpent Beach, though, so there is high ground to think about. No Eevee banned out this time around, but our more standard couple of bans here. I would say Cassie is just a solid A+ ban. What are your thoughts on the way this draft has gone so far?
Yeah, I mean, Cassie's a safe pick or a safe ban on pretty much every map in the game.
So flexible, too.
Yeah, she's good at the end of the day. I think we'll see a Con first, probably. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. Ooh, Genos.
They're going to circumvent grabbing the Con first. Now, we talk a lot about the high ground. This is a big, wide open map that doesn't always get utilized to the fullest extent. There's a lot of things like the Maves, the Eevees, even Pip is open this time around. A lot of high mobility stuff. So you can oftentimes see your team fight get very spread out. And in that case, Genos can be very effective. Do you think with this Genos first pick, that is where Sour Team is sort of starting to head?
Yeah, I am a bit concerned, though, because they took Genos first last game as well, I believe. So I'm wondering if maybe this is a crutch that could come to hurt them on later on in this set.
Perhaps. Definitely a chance that could be happening. Bird comfortable on pretty much any support, so he's not exactly the guy you want to be putting pressure on in the draft. And there's no supports get banned out. There's a lot of viable supports as well. You can pretty much run anything in that category. So it's all about what you want and what you need to succeed and what composition you are trying to build. Ashe, Eevee, the first 2. Con will stay available through the first 3 picks. That's pretty surprising to me.
Yeah, this is interesting. Ashe is a bit more of an aggressive hold W tank than Con would be. Just dive in, get that free 800 damage if you hit your dash, just ult in, stun 4 people.
Yeah.
So with this Eevee, they might be looking to just blind aggression again.
It's a very, very possible thing. That's what NIP like to do, especially if you can corral people. A lot of times, you see a very vanilla approach to the way Serpent Beach mid-fights go. You know what I mean? People group up behind the waterfall. They sort of poke at each other across the way. But with this composition, NIP can send Eevee around Sundial, take the scenic route. Ashe dives in right as Eevee is sort of making her rounds as well. But Con will finally see play. He's picked up halfway exactly through this draft as 5th pick for Sour Team. So far, not a lot of mobility, but there is still a lot of that open. They don't love Pip, so if they are going to go for something mobile, I would really kind of foresee the Mave being their choice, especially with Genos. They got to get some type of mobility going, some way to use this Genos, because right now this composition that they've got doesn't really scream Genos needs to be our healer.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Genos, or the Jorgos, sorry, come out again as well.
Okay.
Jorgos with Genos is a very strong combo because he can easily break that Cauterize if you don't have hit scan. And the Eevee Drogos matchup isn't the most favorable for Eevee.
Yeah, it's not really favorable for either. I don't think either of those champions do great at hitting each other, but NIP have left themselves a final DPS pick open, whether that's, Leon, hell, it could be Amani. I think Sour Team, if they draft a composition that is immobile enough, NIP don't have any damage amps so far, so they could go for something like a Tyra last as well. Keep this Mave marked up. What are your thoughts on a last pick Tyra for NIP?
I would like the Tyra. I could also see them going to maybe a Vivian, just because you have the Barrack Con double shields. I think a Vivian Wrecker could do really well into this. And it's going to be the Tyra.
Well, the crystal ball is clear today. Damage amp to bring those marks, to bring the vision for the Mave. She's not going to be getting any cheeky flanks off. I don't know. These are all good picks, but I think together they don't really gain a whole lot off of each other. These just, to me, feel like solid picks for each of these players off the board. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Sour Team draft?
Yeah, it seems like everyone for both teams got everything they want.
Yeah.
I am a bit concerned about the Sour Team draft. I think they could struggle a lot with just aggression again, right? This Leon isn't the best champion when she gets dived, right?
Yeah, Maeve's the only one that can really kind of cut and run and get out of dodge quickly. That's what I'm worried about as well, man. Again, I feel like I've seen this movie before. There's a lot of people grouped up. Ash is going to dive in, ult over the top, stun a ton of people. We'll see how it goes, though. Let's get down to our casters and get game number 2 started.
Game number 2 coming to you. NIP go up 1-0. Sour Team looking to answer back. A much more balanced draft this time, Gore. No glaring Makoas, no glaring Torvalds. It seems, at least, things are a little bit more even off the board.
And I think it's funny because what Beanie said is 100% true. Like, both teams kind of get everything they want without giving up anything they don't want the other team to have. Like, it's very comfortable on both sides. Ninu is actually the one I put my eyes on as the saving grace. This Mave on this map from Sour Team has saved them. Like, it was struggled, it was saved them from the struggle against Elevate, helped them a little bit yesterday, I believe, in the semifinals as well. So it's something that is a safe comfort pick that we've seen be successful. But we also just saw what NIP did, so they're kind of rolling high right now.
I mean, if there's anything that you can call a saving grace from the last game, Ninu had some good moments on the Mave and a steamrolling of a loss. So you always look at those performances, especially when you're losing. First blood this time going over to Perdo on the Leon. They get high ground control. NIP were on the point, 30%. Sour Team now in control with the 4v5. Some of these daggers land. Things could get staggered. Not blinking back on that, or not turning around, I should say, on the EV. Smart play there from Ninu, knowing where the blink back is going to arrive. And Alex finds himself another death.
And just really good. Again, Ninu's almost unpressured this entire time, not having any trouble, any struggles. And Zarini's just been standing on the point. He hasn't really had any issues pushing him away from the objective, and he's even been able to kind of push forward and help get either some damage or some kills on board for the team 99. As well. And they're going to have to pay more attention to this. I mean, Inara's way off on the side.
Well, wouldn't you believe it, NIP, they need to get a touch here. Overtime, Sour Team, I think, smartly are going to back off just a little bit, not bite off too much. Zarini still just hanging out on the point here. Ninu trying to cause some trouble here on this Mave. First kill comes out in favor of Perdo. Bittner's able to answer back. Diggy Dog for Ninu's the first trade that happens. The long-range shots are coming out from Perdo. NIP are on the point, so overtime no longer a factor, at least for the moment. Zarini will have to get in and get a touch. Things have stabilized, though. NIP are on the point, 51%.
Bonker's going to need a little bit more help to be able to stay on this. I mean, the 57 is really good, but it's not 99, and that's going to be the biggest thing. All it takes is a little bit of pressure onto that Inara, and all of a sudden NIP lose this point. But they're trying to return it. They need to get rid of this Khan. They need to deal with this Leon.
Bonker cleaning up Zarini. That's been all of the presence for Sour Team. Oh my, oh, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't even keep up with it. NIP, the Midnight at the last moment comes out too from Ninu. But NIP, they were positioned perfectly to deal with that. I'm not even sure what ended up happening there. Sour Team just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And NIP, after going down 99%, they're able to pull it back and get the point.
That's like when you're playing a card game and you're trying to set up a very specific play. Like, you have all the pieces in place, but like you're waiting for that last one. Like, everyone on Sour Team, they just waited until they were just low enough, and then just cool, boom, wipe, get rid of them. Yeah, we gave up 99% on the point. It was, you know, a little closer, I think, than they wanted. But they got the play they needed, they got the objective, and like they fought back really well. And I think, admittedly, like, you're just getting into the pace of things, right? Alex switching from Drogos to Eevee. We've seen him do it before, but it's not an easy swap.
No, it's not at all. I mean, similar play styles, almost only in the sense that you get some of that height mobility, the verticality, very similar. This is a good counter back here. Ninu finding the daggers onto Bonker. Dome Shield did come out here with about 1 minute and 25 seconds left, already at 13%, so that'll be fine, most likely, for the next mid-fight here. Ninu drops on the back line, though. Bittner needs to stay alive. That's a Dread Serpent into a fuse.
So
Zarini delivered right into the waiting hands of Bittner in this case. Alex has a double already. Sheepa trying to pull things back as best he can up on the high ground. Joby does it in the form of getting a kill onto Alex, so what looked like a convincing win from NIP pulled back, balanced out by Sour Team.
I'd say that's a really good pickup. I mean, just Bird, like that presence of mind, keeping the heals going in that distinct moment when it's like one shot is going to kill my teammate, and just, all right, I need a Dread Serpent. I need to be able to and like detonate it in just a way that we will be able to get it. And they cleaned 2 kills off of it. Like, that was just picture perfect Maldamba play in the moment.
It's perfect this time around. 1 for 2 trade. Sour Team has done a good job of trading out, or at least finding the opening kills with some of these Midnight, though. That puts Bonker in an awkward spot. Are they able to clean up the kill? Finally, they do. Sheepa gets it, so it's a 4v5 now for NIP on the back foot. Sour Team holding firm on this defense. They have the overpower through time and space as well. Enlightenment assisted in the kill that they got on Bonker just now. NIP with 10 seconds left. This is going to go into overtime as long as they're able to get a touch. That's a good dismount, just delaying it a little bit. Perdo as well finding a kill onto Alex with 3 seconds left. Makes this just a little bit more uncomfortable, Gore. Who throws their ultimates that neither team wants to? Neither team really has the ultimates. You'd like to have them for the mid-fight. Who can find a pick first? Bittner, he's the first to fall. Diggy Dog makes 2. It looks like Sour Team are going to hold firm on defense.
I mean, unless Bonker has some crazy nutty play on Inara, some buff that I didn't know existed on this map, even buying overtime I don't think is going to be enough for them. I like the call. They save their ults. They charge what they can, but it's solid. This is much more what I expected out of Sour Team for this set. And it's a very similar play style to, I would equate it more like Na'Vi. Like it's very patient, very objective-oriented. Like, and admittedly, it kind of makes sense. Where did Zarini play at the beginning of the split for the PPL here? It is very much in favor of them. And
oh my.
That is something you just can't count against. Like, or you can't count for every time, but you can't really counterplay it either. There's nothing to do about it.
Yeah, that's just good individual play here from Alex. Nice. Dread Serpent. Beautifully timed, beautifully placed by Bird. This time around, top 3 damage are going the way of Blue. You have to consider the fact that they were on defense, absorbing a lot of pressure with good positional advantages. Already some early resilience, 3 apiece for both sides. The ultimates, normally you see going into the second half, teams will have fully charged ultimates. They'll wait on the defense, but both teams showing, you know, throw one ultimate here, one ultimate there, and it's worked out kind of both ways 2 different times. NIP are going to get maybe their full 5 at the same time. Bird, he's in a little bit of an awkward spot. Ninu's called him on it. Is he able to finish it off? Zarini's going to be the one to do it. Midnight as well is going to try to answer back. Alex with the lone kill on the side of NIP. Bittner, he's alive in the high ground though. Perdo, he's in the back line. Can he find Bittner up around the side? Because Diggy Dog shoulder bashes in, and they flip the fight right on its head and are now fighting from the point.
I think the biggest thing and the best thing maybe here for Sour Team is that they do have the anti-flank in Leon. They have someone who can kind of deal with the Eevee. No one on NIP is going to be like stellar at taking down Maeve, which is why she's so easily getting into the background and doing so much trouble, or causing so much trouble for them. It's just the distress that NIP, they're kind of sacrificing whoever gets left to the Maeve and taking that and using it just as aggression against Sour Team.
And just like that, point number 2 captured by NIP, methodical. Sour Team looked initially like they were gonna, you know, maybe really control that point. The first few kills all coming up in favor of Blue. But some important answers. The positioning of NIP, their frontliners have been able to stay alive through most of these fights. Bonker and Diggy Dog have done a brilliant job of pulling these back, especially with the healing being gone. Bird was the first to fall in that engagement, and you would think that's all she wrote. But NIP, they're too calculated. I mean, they are your first seed PPL team. They prepared for all these scenarios, and they're pushing for 3 points.
And that's actually the big difference to me on that point fight and the point fight right before it is how much is Bonker getting bullied? Like, how much damage is going on to Inara? How much are they trying to keep her out? Like, Bonker died 2 or 3 times on that first point fight. He didn't drop once during that one. Like, even without healing behind him, he was standing stalwart throughout all of it. Even right now, he is living through this engagement, even getting himself a kill in all of it. And it's those moments, I think, that are making the big difference. If you keep him locked down, they don't really have as much pressure. They don't have anyone to stand behind to keep things rolling. And that's what's slowed down NIP so far. If he keeps rolling like this, though, it's never going to turn around in favor of Sour Team. They're just not going to be able to control it.
And the defense has looked sort of stalwart, I would say. I mean, stalwart's probably an overstatement, but the defense has looked good from them. That's really what I'm trying to say. Perdo in the back line on this Leon has found kills time and time again. It's almost been like strong individual performances, obviously set up by good team play. That's another example. The Ice Storm as well baited out by Alex. 50 seconds left. Don't think that'll be up in time for this potential final push. Most likely not, unless you get 93% in 45 seconds. Sour Team right now, as of right now, will have all 5 ultimates for the next mid-fight if they hold off on this defense. NIP will be in a similar position minus the Ice Storm. But 30 seconds left, Gore. It's all going to come down to who finds an opening kill.
Right now, it's either going to be Ninu or Bonker. It's going back and forth between the 2 of them. I mean, Bonker's in a really, really awkward spot. Ninu goes down, Alex goes down. So you get a trade for trade on the flanks, and you just need someone to be able to kind of push forward. That's the other thing. Tyra, as much damage as she can apply, I feel like she just doesn't have the same pushing power as what we're seeing out of Sour Team. Like, if Sour Team capture an objective or capture a point, their payload push is going to be, I think, a lot faster than this. But Right now, it's just health bars all coming in favor of NIP.
Here comes the crossfires. Well, through time and space goes. Finds some plug damage onto Diggy Dog. That's not enough to find the kill. Ninu, he's respawned. He's back in this fight. Alex, though, already has a double on the Eevee. Enlightenment goes right over the top of Diggy Dog, making a triple for the Eevee. Alex is starting to pop off. He wants to put this one through. Bird with the final kill. NIP, you're going to get point number 3.
Well, much like the end of the first round, when we watched the replay of the first point fight, you can't counterplay Alex getting a triple kill. Like there's no lockdown for that. There's no how did
no
you stop it
preparation
from
for
happening?
that, right.
Like you got to kill him before it happens, and that's really the only thing you can hope for.
Here's how you prepare for that, Gore. You run 2-man scrims where it's where it's only Jopie and Zerini at the end, or whoever the last 2 members are alive. You know, you don't even load in three other team members. You just load in 2 team members into the scrim and just practice.
Now fight 4v2
4v2
and win,
right.
and win and win. It's just, yeah, I mean, Alex is playing ridiculously well, and like that's the thing, coming up clutch and very, very big moments like that where it's do or die. Like the first point capture, it's if you don't get these kills, we lose this objective. He gets the kills.
Yep.
If you don't get these kills, we don't push. He gets these kills. Like he's not consistently there right now on this Eevee, but he's there when it matters.
The scoreline closer this time. Already 1 point. All the ultimates that were saved last time starting to fly. Dread Serpent did latch onto a couple, but it's Ninu and Bird each trading out 1. That's Bittner for Sheepa, who comes out on top of that one. Remains to be seen. Ninu, though, adds his second onto Bonker. So the frontline presence a little bit gone, but now there's no healing remaining from Sour Team. Alex utilizing this mobility so well. You hear those daggers from Ninu just flying across the air, finding their target each time. Diggy Dog on the low ground, though, adding another kill. There's so many kills going back and forth right now, but it's Sour Team with the fast cap who have 62%.
I mean, they're trying to hold on. They're doing as much as they can, but this is the problem, and it's very similar to what we've seen the last couple of times. Alex isn't getting punished for his aggressiveness, and while he's not getting any kills either, he's keeping them corralled and locked away.
True.
Like, Khan wasn't on the high ground, wasn't dealing any damage, wasn't having any impact on the fight there
for
for
flank.
10, 15 seconds.
You find the flank onto Bird, though. He makes his presence known with some daggers to the back of Bonker. So grouped up here on the high ground or NIP, this could either work out so well or so poorly, depending on how Sour Team are able to position around it. But the all-of-a-sudden fell swoop, I should say, of aggression goes in. Perdo down, Ninu down, Jopie down. 89% for Sour Team, but 78%, soon to be 100 for NIP. And game number 2 is going to go the way of red.
Zerini doing whatever he can to just try and hold on, get back to the objective. But at that point, they were playing bodyguard, right? They're just locking him down, being bullies, and making sure they can body block anyone away. It was a lot closer. I actually like what Sour Team were able to accomplish there. I think that was more of like the showcase. We can stand against NIP. It's just when they stopped focusing, specifically Inara. Like when Bonker was living, which admittedly it's very difficult to kill off an Inara, but like when you have Maeve in the first round, targeting her, getting rid of this Inara every single time, it opened up the door immensely for Zerini to just, cool, I'm going to chill right here. Like, this is just where I'm going to be. We're going to get 99%. Every consecutive round, or every round after that, there's just, Inara's free, Inara's free, Inara's free. No one was looking at her.
And you are pointing this out very well during the game. It's almost like lazy-esque on the side of Na'Vi. You just stick Zerini on the point and just pile it up time and time again. But what NIP had, and this is what we didn't see in Week 13, but was a counter to it, where they kind of grouped up and all one fell swoop kind of swept through the lineup of Sour Team. Game 2 goes the way of NIP, 1 game away from advancing to the semifinals. Desk, can Sour Team bring one back?
Well, I'll leave that question to you, Beanie. What are your thoughts after seeing that game, and what are your main points of improvement that you would recommend to Sour Team?
It was closer. It was a 4-1, not a 4-0, which is always better.
Baby steps, Chad.
Baby steps,
Baby steps.
I feel like they're just not sure how to deal with NIP's aggression.
Yeah. A lot of people have that problem, to be fair.
Yeah, traditionally EU's always, I feel like, has been a bit more passive, like a bit more control
I agree.
oriented, and I don't think they're used to just playing against us.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, and that's a big part of, I think, NIP's success. When they are allowed to get you on the back foot and keep that pressure applied, it's just so difficult to bounce back from. And a couple people obviously doing good damage here. Sheepa on the con, 56k, 93k, Ninu, 70k, 79k for Zerini. Even Jopie at 31k. I mean, it's all good damage numbers. Even some of these slash lines looking pretty good. Nobody getting really like blown out of the water. Nobody really feeding, if you will, from Sour Team. But part of that is because these are all solid picks for these players. These are all strong in their role. But my main thing is I don't necessarily feel the synergy together. This doesn't feel like these 5 characters together, you really get something more. The whole is not necessarily greater than the sum of the parts. Diggy electing to go for that Ashe over the Khan despite it being available, using that mobility to rotate around the map greatly and follow up on a lot of these Tyra marks. NIP's composition is not even necessarily their best in slot role, but because I think they play better as a composition of 5 champions together, like following up on those Tyra marks, there was somebody there to do that. Eevee and Ashe are there specifically to do that. Ashe might not be Diggy Dog's first choice, but you see what I'm getting at? Like, it feels like the sum of those parts is greater.
Yeah, and Diggy did a great job of kind of distracting Sour a bit, I feel. He was getting in, he's able to get out safely, and everyone turns on him, and just no one's looking where they should be looking, I feel.
These drafts are tough, man.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult thing. NIP have been competing in that Premier League. It's a whole different caliber of competition, man. The amount they practice, they're playing on LAN all year round as well. So this is home base for them. This is not, there's no LAN nerves for these PPL teams, man. This is literally just another day in the office. Jaguar Falls is map number 3. I don't know if this is the one Sour team can bring it back on. This is one of NIP's stronger maps in my personal opinion.
Yeah, for sure. The other side of that is also NIP. I mean, they do this for a living, right? They scrim. I think I talked to Alex. They scrimmed like 11 hours yesterday.
They play a lot of Paladins.
Yeah,
they definitely do.
Sour they're just
and then
not
after
able to
their
do
scrims, they just keep playing. They pub.
Yeah,
they play pub matches.
It's
with
ridiculous.
Each other. They just love the game, and that's a big part of it, man. Loving and wanting to continue to play the game or your craft, whatever it is. Like if you're a carpenter, right? You spend all day, doing your thing, improving your craft, but then you go home and you're working on little passion projects and hobbies and little things at home that are just still carpentry. You know what I mean? Like that is going to make you the best carpenter on the block. So if you can go home and really love and eat, breathe, and sleep what you do, NIP are absolutely that team, and it's I think part of the reason why they are at the top of their game right now. Sour team, they do ban Pip though. Thank goodness gracious. Too many times has that pick been allowed through on Jaguar Falls to NIP, man. I couldn't stand by idly anymore and watch that happen. But is it time for Torvald Lex Beanie? Is it time?
Well, I mean, Torvald's banned, so I don't think so.
Think NIP can break the rules though? Special exception here.
I mean, we saw it yesterday. Someone picked the banned champion.
Well, the situation here is dire for Sour Team. This is a best of 5 set. NIP are up 2-0 in just under an hour of play. Geno's first pick yet again, for the boys from the minor league.
Now NIP's going to have their pick of the Khan or the Ashe.
Form up and follow me.
The Ashe.
Why not both, my friend?
Why not both? I don't think they'll go take both. Oh, they will take both. All right. Lead the way, Nick.
Well, this is certainly a hell of a draft from them, and they can kind of do sort of the same thing. I mean, when you look at Sour Team first picking Genos is not an ideal point tank healer, my friend. And now that's pretty much all that's left.
Yeah. And the Pip span, so you can't even off-heal with the
I think
Pip.
you got to go 3 DPS here. I think you just got to say, F it. This is what we've set ourselves up for. We grab, you don't have to grab a Barrack here because I don't think NIP are going to go triple tank.
No.
You never know, though. I mean, things could get a little wild here in our first set of the day. But Sour Team, if I were them at this point, I'm just setting myself up with 3 DPS. They played a lot of it yesterday. They're comfortable with it. And going Inara Barrack wouldn't be good with Genos.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them running it a lot with the Barrack against their sets against Penta and Sanguine and even against Elevate. My only concern is I personally felt like those were some of their weaker matches.
Okay.
Even against Elevate, like those were the maps that they almost lost against them, was their triple DPS maps.
Yeah. Elevate did a good job, though, running that. Yeah. They went all in on that death ball strat, man. All the chips were on the table, and they certainly wanted to see where they would fall. NIP, back to them. Still need their support and their damage dealers. Bird has run a little bit of that Furia today. Might see some more of that. You never really know with this guy. Could go for the triple tank. NIP, what will they pivot to if Sour Team are setting up for the 3 DPS, transitioning to a triple frontline composition? Maybe a Tyra as well would be good here to grab. Tyra enables triple tank very effectively. Furia I don't know, man.
In this game, you win
Oh, okay,
or
they're
you
gonna go
die.
Leon.
There is no
I don't
middle
think you'll see
ground.
I was
triple tank
smelling
with
it.
the Furia.
I was smelling it, man.
Yeah.
Everybody group up under the shower beam, the 6,000 HPS heal. Could be saucy. Could be saucy. A lot of damage amp required to get that comp off the ground. But what will Tenor play? That is my question. Will he play this Leon again? Will Alex be picking a last pick Drogos or a Bomb King perhaps even?
Potentially. They take the Leon away, which is kind of the main hit scan Drogos counter. And
Yeah.
Sour already has this Cassie, which will likely be going to Perdo. So if you see perhaps like a Bomb King or something come out from Sour, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Drogos come through last.
What will Ninu play? Another question that needs to be answered. And still, we don't really know the heart and soul
The gods are
of
watching.
this composition
Our
from
blood
Sour
is
Team yet. They
rushing.
could still go
And the
3
hunt
DPS. They have a
is
lot
on.
of damage amp to do it. Double shielding comp as well, and it is going to be the
There you
triple
go.
DPS locked in. I think this is... Are they going to win with this? Probably not. But ooh.
Oh!
Now we're spicing it up. NIP feeling good about what they've gotten. They're going to pull out a Dredge. This has to be Alex, right? Doesn't
Yeah,
have
I think
to be.
it's Alex.
I wouldn't be surprised. Alex has and can play Leon.
I think
But
Tenor just wants to add more champions onto his dragon.
What piece of Dredge will be added to that painting, though? Will it be the harpoon? Is
Maybe
Grover
it'll
holding
just-
an axe and a harpoon with the pip head and the Tyra gun?
The,
Oh,
yeah, the
man.
hat on like
That's
the
good.
pip.
That's
I think.
good. That's good. That's quality stuff there. Sour Team do grab their 3 DPS composition, man. They're down 0-2, backs against the wall. Is this a draft to pull it out?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see, man. I'm very excited to see Dredge at this point. It's going to be a lot of fun. NIP are already giving us something a little bit of spicy here in the first round. Let's get it up to the casters and see if Sour Team can hold on.
Game 3, follow me. NIP could take it all the way this one. Sour Team, they loved their triple DPS yesterday. Of the 3 games they played against Penta, only one of them was not triple DPS, if I'm remembering correctly. And Gore, you've kind of noted they love Genos. They really love Genos.
Genos. Maybe sometimes too much. Like, they were really lucky, I think, last map to get Genos Khan. Like, it's one of those things, like, you're looking at it, and even the desk was saying, okay, you get Khan here, then you look at counter picks on NIP, and it's like they lock in Genos. The fact that, what was it, NIP went Ashe plus whatever, Ashe Leon, I think, at the time, was kind of surprising. You get Genos Khan. This time you don't. And now I'm kind of wondering how well he's going to stand up. Triple DPS works on this map. Dredge technically works on this map. I think 100% win rate. No, 50% win rate in the
That's
PPL
right.
because one game he did really, really well, and I think that was on Jack Falls, and one game, no, it was on Ice Lines. And then one game he did really, really badly, and that was on Frog Isle.
Kind of an interesting note. Normally it's Bittner playing these kind of absurd, I mean, Dredge is far from absurd, but kind of one-off outside
He's
of
pretty
the
absurd.
outside of the norm champions. But today it's Alex. First kill goes the way of Ninu. He's going to find Bittner. Zarini, though, that point presence from Sour Team immediately cut, as well as the damage from NIP. So both teams striking at a different point of the enemy. 45% though for NIP here. Bonker very low. Going to use the shout to heal up just a little bit. Alex has been trying to find some angles here with the Dredge. This could be it. Lots of grouped up members. Finally find some plug damage. Sheepa very low on this Cassie, has to back out Perdo. Getting hit by a few. That's a detonation. Alex blows up Perdo. No more Tyra. 1/3 of that DPS is now gone. Maybe a little extra with the hunting party gone as well. Zarini just cannot find a footing on this point. Sheepa has to back off. NIP, they're poised perfectly with 93%.
Showcasing, I think, the one thing that Dredge is really, really good at, the one thing that you don't get to see often because you don't see Dredge often, it's just denial of area. Like,
Yeah,
you just
do
can't
not
stand here
here.
anymore. And it's fun because it works. In this case, Alex is using it for any of the points that Sour Team could use to be aggressive against the objective, so anything that could get them any point pressure,
Right.
making it so Tyra can't stand there, Cassie can't stand there. They have to go for a flank. They have to go around. They have to go into uncomfortable positions for themselves if they want to get any pressure onto the Ashe, onto the Khan. But let's say Sour Team do get pressure onto the point. He just turns his attention to the point. And then
Right.
if you're Zarini, where are you going to stand? You can't stand on the objective anymore.
Well, he hasn't had room to stand anywhere. He's killed basically twice, both times trying to step onto the point. The Kraken is ready. I've got some on my socks. We got some in this game. Ninu with an opening kill, pulls back a little bit. And again, you just see, I mean, every bit of area looks good on this map for Dredge. I mean, so many grouped up members, but Ninu playing spoiler to this push at the moment. A double kill on the Eevee, trying to find 3. Perdo steals that one away. Alex pulls one back. But Ninu might get his 3rd in this fight. Again, stolen away, but still a minute and a half left. That's a good defense from Sour Team. Really on the back of Ninu, though.
I feel like it's good to start the defense like that, though, just because NIP don't have as easy of a reclamation team, if that makes sense. Like, they don't have as easy of a time getting back up here and keeping the pressure they had. Like, once you lose it, it's very difficult to get it back in general. And they don't have a team like, unless Khan and Ash are going to make some huge plays here, which, admittedly, if any 2 of them are going to, those are 2 of the easiest ones to do it on. It's going to be difficult to get back.
Oh,
and that'll
see ya. You're standing at the wrong place at the wrong time, Perdo. Ninu as well drops. Now only 1 of the 3 damage dealers left alive for about 5 more seconds, or will be respawns. Alex cleans up all 3. It's healer and tank. No damage to be found for Sour Team right now. Zarini biding just a little bit of time with the bowling ball, but this is where Alex can really flourish. He has already, but denying any sort of exit from the base without taking a good bit of chunk damage. Has to peek around the corner, make sure not to take too much in return here. Does just that, drops down, so Sour Team breaking the zone just a little bit, but this payload's getting very close. With about 20 seconds left, the Kraken could open things up. There's 3 grouped members back there. The bomb explodes onto Sheba. Zarini's in an awkward spot as well. The damage is crumbling. The lineup is crumbling. Sour Team, they're all falling. And NIP are going to get point number 2.
I mean, it's one of those things, like the way Alex is playing this, it's very perfect around cover. You can see him kind of leaving his little waypoints to make sure, like, okay, I'm going to get a little bit of healing from this as long as I stay out of line of sight. And then whenever he needs to, he's like, cool, Kraken on the objective. Stand in if you want, get away if you can. It's 4,000 damage either way. Like, you just can't stand there. And again, it's the thing that Dredge does best. It is just area of denial. And in a game where everything is oriented around either the payload or a point, he can play incredibly well. And I think it does come down to actually Ninu here to potentially step up and get rid of him, catch him off guard.
That was an individual, like, blink in, I'm going to do this all myself, gets rid of Bittner, and then sets up the rest of the team fight very well. I mean, Zarini's been playing well. I mean, all things considered, 0-4-4. He's just had so much. He is entirely being leaned on to be all of the point presence. The overpower, unfortunately, this time around steps just too far out, adding a 5 into that death column. That overpower is good. NIP have a lot of ultimates to play with as well. Ninu blinks in, gets rid of Alex. So pull it back even, 4 versus 4.
And just trying to get rid of, again, something that allows your team. Now you can have Cassie and Leon move up. Admittedly, Cassie's not going to be able to, and with Ninu maybe a little bit too far out of position, it's not going to work out. This is just NIP playing NIP. This is them going through and just checkbox any member of Sour Team taken away.
So NIP are good at Paladins. You have strong individual. And Diggy Dog, look how aggressive, assert dominance in the base of Sour Team, and he's kind of alone at this point, just allowing the rest of NIP to push up and really get this payload push started off on the right foot. Bittner's holding down the right side. Diggy Dog's holding down the left. All the kills are red. 10 streak for the Leon, 8 and 5 respectively for Khan and Ash on the opposite side. Perdo loses that duel. Bittner comes out on top yet again.
Honestly, this is just looking solid from them. If you can kind of play bodyguard here for Alex, like, well, I guess and Bittner, but Bittner's kind of playing bodyguard for himself. He doesn't need anybody around him on this 11 streak. But you keep Alex alive, you can push this payload up pretty easily. He's going to buy the space for you, set you up for kills if you're Bittner just by keeping him low and getting him low. And then at that point, it's just going to be, again, systematic checklist. You are performing surgery, and you know exactly what you need to do when you came in.
Performing surgery with a sledgehammer here on Sour Team, just blasting them apart. I don't even know if it's methodical. I guess it is, but either way, it's sloppy if you're on the side of blue right now. Zarini is able to get himself out alive right now. It's do or die for Sour Team as far as the MSI goes. If NIP put this one in, they're going to go on with a clean 3-0 to the semifinals. They're going to want to make sure to do this one right without any mistakes. To the final point, the Enlightenment just wide. Ninu blinks in, gets the kill onto Alex, but not before Alex is able to trade back onto Sheba. Zarini going toe-to-toe with Bonker down here to the left, but don't forget about Bittner. This Leon's doing a lot of long-range damage as well.
And I just want to highlight, like, that Enlightenment doesn't connect, but the response time he had to a wormhole blink back to be able to find that, like, if that ice block wasn't available, Ninu's dead in that engagement. Like, Bittner is so zoned in. He's playing out of his mind right now, but he's not quite doing enough to lock it down all on his own. Like, Ninu's fighting back just enough. But with 45 seconds left on the clock, a couple of ults still available if they need it in Flame. You could still find this as a 4-0 if you're NIP.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The overpower as well, that gets rid of, pick your poison. The overpowers have been, very hit or miss up to this point. But Bonker's not one to make any mistakes as far as that ultimate goes. And we see that come through, and that one does connect. Alex knows where Ninu's going, launches one. I didn't quite see who he grabbed, but he just launches him out of this fight. The Inflame comes through. It's an automatic 4v5. Zarini goes down. There's no more frontline for Sour Team. They only have a couple damage dealers and a healer. This could be it. NIP could push it through. Sour Team could be exiting the MSI, and NIP could be moving on.
Again, just keeping cover, keeping healing, keeping yourself with line of sight on top of the payload. You're trying to get damage down, and you're doing it.
Oh, they're going to do it. The Crossfire tries to pull things back, but there's no kills to be found. He does end up getting Alex. They might have to back off here. Zarini needs to stay alive. The bowling ball is going to help, but it's not going to help enough. NIP are going to complete the 3-0, and they're going to go on to the semifinals.
And they just keep on proving that, well, yeah, they are good at Paladins, just like you said earlier, and being able to pull out Dredge. And the best way I can word this is not in a meme way, not in a, oh, we think we're so much better than you, we're going to pull it out. Like, that is a genuine Dredge pick. That is something where it's like, we have practiced this, we know what we can do with this, we know this is a good map for him, so we're just going to play Jack False. And it's like a good substitute, like false substitute, I guess, for Pip, where it's like, I'm going to do similar kinds of damage, but nowhere near as good at 1v1s and nowhere near as effective overall in a team fight, but like, you can't stand over there, so hey.
Sure. They at least did their homework. They banned out Pip. I mean, we noticed that in the draft. At the end of the day, does not matter. NIP complete the 3-0. They're moving on to face the winner of our next match. But before we get there, let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you, gentlemen. Great job down there on the call. Back on the desk now with Mr. Hare and Mr. Beanie. I think that goes expected for the larger majority of the audience. Sorry to you Sour Team diehard fans out there. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the post-game stats real quick. I'm very curious to see how this Dredge stacked up. A very fun character to watch. Above the tanks, but far below Tenor's Leon, and that might be a little bit too expected.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising. I think part of that is just the fact that he didn't have much damage to deal.
Yeah,
like
that's kind of Dredge.
When you got triple DPS, like you two-shot them and they're dead, right?
Yeah,
no
exactly.
One's healing up all that damage, right? You're not farming.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right there. I mean, Dredge, if he is doing damage to you, you're probably just gone. You're going to be obliterated. I think Ninu has a decent performance there, man. 10-7. Everybody else is they're kind of feeding at that point. Ninu making some individual plays as well. Ninu's a hell of a player. I think that cannot be understated. Has a couple of good matchups, of course, with these lower mobility backliners. Can really get in there. Ice storm some people out. All about Tenor, though. I think he was at about 90k. So much damage in this game. So much damage on Leon. Leon was like, a lot of characters are ebbing and flowing throughout the course of the season, but Leon was like the last week of the PPL. She really starts to poke her head out and be a solid pick. She got that little nerf, and a lot of times when a character gets nerfed, no matter how bad or not that bad it is, people stop to play them for a little while. And I feel like this is almost the re-emergence of Leon. She could be a big piece of this MSI event, especially if people are coming out and playing. I mean, people are pairing her with Torvald. This is a very versatile pick, it seems.
Yeah, for sure. And Leon has that perfect balance of backline poke and aggression, right? You can use your ultimate as a get-out-of-jail-free card to just win any 1v1.
Yeah, that always feels good.
Yeah.
And you can't complain about getting solo ulted by Leon.
Because that's her job.
It's like whining about getting solo ulted by Dragon Punch. It's like, listen, man, it's what it's for. We're trying to get this kill, trying to get this 50% ultimate charge refund. Let's take a quick peek at the bracket after our first match has concluded. NIP 3-0 Sour Team. Next on the docket is going to be Space Station Gaming versus Kanga. 2 PPL teams. Pretty close in the standings as well. Then we have Navi, Penta, and of course Team NB Virtus Pro awaiting towards the latter half of the day. That was a pretty phenomenal one just to watch. I don't feel like NIP showed too much though.
No, and I think that was the game plan going in. They went to Bright March, which is a fairly neutral map, and they just said we're going to play and see how you react. And then from that point on, they just kind of played some good Paladins.
Calm, cool, collected, calculated, all types of words you could use for the way NIP played their first matchup. Let's hear from them, though. We have Bird and Diggy Dog standing by.
First of all, congrats, guys. After a little bit of a break with the PPL phase ending, back in your favorite chairs, the victory chairs, moving on to the semifinals here today after a 3-0 win. One of my favorite questions to ask, especially after wins that are convincing as that one was, is there anything you noticed, at least initially, that you don't think you did well on? Anything that you want to improve on moving forward to tomorrow in the semifinals?
We probably shouldn't have given up that 1 point. But
I guess that's literally it.
I mean,
yeah, it's hard to say when it's so, one-sided.
I just want to know, you get Makoa in game 1, and that's already pretty big. And you're like, okay, well, we're going to have to go against Torvald. Then they don't lock it in. Like, what are the comms like at that moment in picks and bans when you're just like, we're about to get Makoa Torvald, and we know how this game's going to go?
It's just like, okay. Just a surprise,
On the desk, we were talking a little bit about, was that Sour team looking at Makoa Torvald and being like, that's not the best, on-the-point frontline composition? And was that you guys, calling their bluff, saying, we don't care, we'll just adjust and play around that Torvald?
I can only imagine so. Since they started banning it afterwards, I assume they just didn't want to play Torvald and assumed that we wouldn't take it for some reason.
Yeah. Genos first picks as well. Did you guys expect them to just have that concrete all 3 games, kind of going for very heavily after that support pick?
We saw that when they played both console and Penta, they were really over prioritizing the Genos. So, we said in the draft straight up, they're probably going to take Genos. Just let's do whatever we want, really.
Decent amount of Leon in this set as well. She was something that really started to kind of be on the upswing in that last week of the PPL. Diggy, you play a little bit of that character. If it's 3 DPS, that's normally something you would flex to. What are your thoughts on Leon? Is that nerf, not really taking her too far out of viability?
No, it hasn't really changed anything, to be honest. It just stopped her from carrying game by herself, basically. If you line it up, then you could kill everyone. But she's still a super solid pick nearly every time.
All right, boys. Congratulations on the victory. Very, very clean. Could clean up that 1 point, though, in the future. I'm expecting a little bit better from you in the semifinals. We'll see how it goes, though. That's going to do it for this set, guys. We're going to throw it to a quick little break, and when we're back, Space Station versus Kanga.